What's up? It's your boy Ash, talking boxing. Vitali Klitschko versus Chisora. I don't know if y'all saw that or not, but Vitali Klitschko and Chisora were at the weigh-in, and after they both weighed in, they faced off for the cameras. As soon as they actually came together, man, Vitali had his head down, man. I mean, he's been through hundreds of face-offs, so I'm sure he wasn't expecting this, but Chisora slapped the piss out of his ass. Caught him off guard, man. It was a ruckus. But, wow, man, I haven't seen something like that in a little while. It's not the first time, we've seen guys get bum rush at press conferences before. Weigh-ins have, you've seen, Bernard pushing Winky's head back right in his face. Hell, just Floyd and Ortiz. Floyd was basically choking the shit out of Ortiz right there on the stage. And, countless of examples, man. It only makes for more interesting fights. It actually helps promote the fight further, when people see that. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's a sellout crowd in that venue when they fight. But when they fight, initially I thought Klitschko was just going, keep himself busy, beat up on Chisora, and just keep his limbs fresh. He's 40 years old. He can't continue to dominate forever. This has been his and his brother's era, uncontested, dominant, and they will go down as, the best in their era, and at this point you really can't hate on Klitschko's if there are any more haters out there, Klitschko haters. Give them their props, bro. Give it to them, because it's not like they winning video games. These are fights, they're in there with these men. It may be a soft era in the United States. It doesn't matter. This is their era. You cannot hold it against them that there are no challengers out there that really sized up with them, because the skills were out there. Eddie Chambers and stuff like that, they got skills. They're just not big. But you cannot hold that against Klitschko's, because that's the way they were born. That's something that they can't control. Only thing they can control is what happens in that ring. And you see what happens when they get it in, so. But like I said before, Vitali's 40 years old. He can't do it forever. He don't fight like his brother Vladimir. Vladimir is a little bit more cautious. He's a thinker. He wants to set everything up with jab. Is, when he really lets off, it's usually late in the fight. But with Vitali, once the fight settles in, he moves his hands, man. He's one of the rare heavyweights out there that sets his punches up in combination for round after round after round. He's usually fairly conditioned. I've seen him gas, but he never gassed to the point where he's going in survival mode. He never stops throwing those punches, and that's what you can always get out of a Vitali Klitschko fight. He don't necessarily lead with the jab all the time. He lead with hooks. He punches from weird angles. He's not the best heavyweight moving laterally, but this is the heavyweight division. You really don't need to. You do it only as an extra bonus to your skill set, but in the heavyweight division, guys don't move much anyway. Not a typical heavyweight fight. But in this fight, man, on fight night, Klitschko is probably going to dwarf him. If you watch the weigh-in, they look pretty much even in terms of size, but Vitali is going to swell up overnight. He's done it before. As many times he's been in the weigh-in, and, he actually looks like he's the same height of his opponent, and on fight night, it looked like he just doubles in size, bro. But I'm telling you, he gonna swell up, man, and he gonna beat the cowboy shit out of Chisora, man. I think the worst thing he could have did was slap the hell out of him like that. Because, what was probably going to be an early KO to begin with, Now, after being bitch slapped in front of everybody, now that fight, Klitschko versus Chisora, Klitschko is about to hand down a comprehensive ass whooping on Derek Chisora for slapping the piss out of him. He's going to carry him just so he can whoop that ass just a little bit more, just to see how tough he is. Because there's nothing Chisora brings to the table that Klitschko hasn't seen before in the duration of his career. I mean, I think if there was any way to capitalize on Vitali, it would be his age. But he doesn't. He may have slowed down just a bit, but him slowing down just that little bit does not take away the dominance that he's displaying in the ring. And I don't expect anything different. Comprehensive ass beating is what Klitschko is about to hand down. And it ain't, I mean, let's give the man his props, man. I mean, you saw how he fought against Lennox Lewis, who I hold in very high regard. Very high regard. Even though it was on short notice, if I'm not mistaken, I think not Klitschko, but Lennox was training for Kurt Johnson, who ended up getting injured. And Klitschko filled in for him, and they fought, and he fought well against Lennox. And since then, he's pretty much been uncontested in the ring. I mean, there were guys who actually fought him hard, but they came up short. You have to give this man his credit, man. Him and his brother. Dominance. And he's going to beat the hell out of Chisora. I think it's going to be a late knockout as opposed to an early one. I think he's going to let Chisora stick around and eat punches for round after round after round for humiliating him like that. And it's going to be a learning lesson in the life of young Chisora. He's about 28 years old. It's a weird dude from London. I've heard stories about this guy. I think he had a girlfriend one time, and he thought that she was cheating on him. And he was checking through her phone and saw some text messages from another guy, and they said he threw her on the bed, bent her over, and just spanked the shit out of her over and over, just spanking the shit out of her, man. That's some wild shit. That's some wild business, man. But you know what? At least you can't say he was beating on her, like assaulting her, domestic violence type thing, where you beating her across her head, man. He was just spanking her ass, giving her that get right, you know what I'm saying? Cheating and shit, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, man, I got Klitschko by a late knockout. What you think? Leave it. So, I'm a holler, man. It's Ash. Peace.